Hey guys, this is Jackson, and I am down by my river spot, which you might be familiar with if you've been watching these videos recently on the channel. I've done a few down at the rivers at the moment, but I wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about AI. And God, I don't know what I'm going to title this video just yet, but I've got a feeling it's going to be something provocative, because AI is going to be a very polarizing thing. It's going to introduce a lot of problems. And it's also a very exciting frontier of technology and development. I think I don't even know where to begin tackling this problem, because I feel like no matter what I say to start with, there's gonna be people who are gonna be like, yes, and then people on the other side who are gonna be like, fuck you, you're wrong. And I think that's just the nature of it. I think it's a very polarizing thing. I think it's very powerful, and I think it's very dangerous and horrible at the same time, it makes it a difficult thing to talk about. Especially, I don't know, I feel like just in today's world in general, I feel like there's a lot of polarizing things happening, and it's very hard to have a discussion about some things without feeling like you're going to be threatened or attacked for voicing what you think and whatever. Anyway, AI. So let me just talk about what it is before I give you my take on it. So AI is essentially this is my understanding of what AI is. This isn't a definition that I'm getting from somewhere else. This is just my understanding and how I see AI from my perspective. I see it as a new sort of wave, an iteration of technology. It is fundamentally, what is it? It's robotic and like silicon based in nature. It's lines of code, it's servers, it's sort of an emergent phenomena that's popping up out of our progress with computers and machines, and our computational capacity and our algorithms and logic. It's like a new tool with which is sort of flinging the gates wide open for human beings to leverage the power of technology using things such as basic as their word. So like ChatGPT, for example, is basically you can have a conversation with a computer, a text-based conversation with the computer that knows about the whole internet and can research shit on the internet, and you can ask it questions and it can formulate a response. It has enough intelligence, quote-unquote intelligence, in the form of logic and research and data training and whatever, to sort of understand what you said and to sort of spit out a comprehensible, reasonably articulate and intelligent response. Now, it's not entirely there, and people can break it at the moment and get it to do all kinds of funny things, and it's sort of opaque with how it generates its responses and like whatever. But I think it is going to improve, and I think we don't actually know what that's going to look like. And then the same thing goes with what would you call it, like generative AI, where you can generate art, this is like a whole point of what would you call it, like polarization and problems that people see with generative AI, is that it isn't actually generating anything. It's basically stealing from the training data. And then there's this whole sort of situation where, artists have uploaded their work onto platforms on the internet, and then that data has just been scraped for these AI algorithms to then use to regenerate out to the users of the AI. And so what you've essentially got is this issue where where people are creating things, human beings are creating things, and they put it on the internet for basically nobody to see because of algorithms and things not showing their art, and then not being credited for it, not being paid for it, because we sort of live in a society that doesn't necessarily highly value artistic expression, not in the average person. It's like, this is how I feel. I feel like art is sort of one of those things that you're discouraged from pursuing because it doesn't make you any money. It's not a thing that can be put into a job role necessarily. And so people are upset about that. I think people are upset that, they can spend all this time like learning how to create music or create art, and then basically that art just gets stolen by an AI, and then people can claim it as their own because it's been put through an algorithm and someone's waved a magic wand over it, and now it's original art generated by an AI. Very, very polarizing, and people don't really know how to deal with that because it's a new phenomenon. It's fucking came out of nowhere. There's no laws around it. You know, we're sort of getting there with the laws. Like, people have to, you know, label things that are made with AI at the moment, but it's all very opaque, and you know, artists are sort of getting screwed, I think. But anyway, so where we're going with that, and the positive side of this, is that we have this technology now where people can use their words and use reference images and things like that to have a machine generate, you know, a very high quality 2D piece of art, 3D models, videos, music, like all of these things. It's like we've built this machine that can tap into sort of the collective like database of human creativity, whether it's, you know, visual art or, you know, the models and whatever. And through this machine, we call it AI, through this logical fucking machine built out of like silicon and computer chips and whatever the fuck makes up a computer, servers and whatever, it can harness the collective expression of humanity and then mold that into something that is representative of the prompt that you've given it, which is it's an immensely powerful thing. Like I said, it does have its problems because of the way that people are and aren't credited for the work that they've contributed to training that model. But if we somehow manage to fix that, what we've essentially got is a machine that can take the ideas and work and talent of humanity and then put that at the fingertips of anybody who can use the human language. Basically, it's like if you can give a machine a good text prompt, and if the machine is good enough at understanding what you mean by the text prompt, you can have it draw from the collective fucking intelligence of humanity to generate something which matches the vision that you've got. So that's a pretty crazy thing. Now, okay, so now that I've said that, that's sort of how I see AI. And, you know, it's fucking got some problems. It's got some serious problems, and it's got some serious promises as well. So what does it look like, say, over the next, like, couple of years? What is going to happen to the internet? Well, you can already sort of see what's happening with the internet is basically it's being flooded with fucking AI garbage, dude. It is being flooded with garbage. And good stuff as well. I shouldn't talk like that. I shouldn't say that it's just garbage, because I follow some AI artists on Instagram, actually, and they do some really great work. They don't use just AI. They blend their AI with sort of Photoshop and some other tools. The whole fucking Adobe thing is another issue that we can probably go into another time. Sort of the tendency of these companies to exploit their users, and especially to like scrape their art to sell to fucking AI companies or whatever the hell's going on there. I don't really understand what's going on there, but anyway, let's not go into that. I don't want to go into that because I don't really know, and I don't want to say anything that I don't want to comment on anything that I don't really understand. But I think what's going to happen is we're going to see, now that we've got this AI tool, I think we're going to see companies take advantage of it, and I think they're going to use that as a substitute for human creativity. I think what's going to happen, and I think what I might title this video is AI will destroy gaming. It's destroy the gaming industry, because what'll happen is if you look at the biggest gaming companies, they're always looking for ways, not always, this is a generalization, but in general, they become more and more concerned with profit, and they become more driven to self-preserve, and so their games become more generic, more safe, more sort of, you know, run-of-the-mill and expedient, and checking off lists of things that should be included in a game rather than do something risky and unique. And I think what's going to happen is this new AI tool is going to be abused by companies so that they can generate massive amounts of content. And I think in doing so, they're going to undercut the creative soul of humanity, because artists aren't going to be credited for this thing that AI can do. And artists are going to be put out of work because of what AI can do. And I think the end result is that games are going to become more and more shallow. The industry is going to become more and more soulless. It's going to seek more and more fucking profit, and it's going to try and save costs by leveraging AI rather than hiring people to make individual, unique artwork. And in doing so, the work is just going to become more and more fucking dog shit. And I think people are going to keep buying it, which is the worst part about it. I think gamers are going to keep buying it. They're going to, you know, just be fucking praying to God that the next game won't be as bad as the last one, that, you know, it won't be as soulless maybe, or I don't know. Maybe they'll eventually get fed up. I think people get fed up eventually, but I think what we're in for is a very long streak of a dark sort of time in gaming history where I think a lot of work is just going to be outsourced to machines, and there's going to be no human creativity in it whatsoever. And so soulless games are going to flood the market, soulless art is going to flood the market, and real artists are going to really struggle, and they're going to die out. They're not going to be able to get money anymore because they're not going to be able to find work. They're not going to be appreciated, because why would you pay an artist to fucking, make some high quality work? I'm fucking hearing noises behind me. I feel like I'm going to get assassinated or something. Why would you pay an artist to why would you pay thousands of dollars to pay an artist to make some models or make some art or make some music or whatever, when you can just plug it into fucking Leonardo AI or fucking Midjourney or whatever and just generate the shit for like a fraction of the cost, like the membership fee of the AI, But it's short-term thinking. That's the issue, is that it's short-term thinking. And the companies that do this, I think they're eventually going to drive themselves into the ground, because nobody's going to want to play soulless fucking AI-generated garbage. And yeah, I think there will eventually be a demand for human touch more than anything, because I think we'll start to miss it eventually. We'll start to realize that, the people who abuse AI don't necessarily have the best interests of their consumers at heart, and what people really want is sort of human connection, I suppose. They want a human touch in their work, They want the game to be able to speak to them when they play it. They want to play a game that fucking touches on something significant that they can sort of relate to in their personal life, or is a profound experience created by someone who really cared about the work, Like if you look at fucking some of the most popular, like I've been watching a little bit of Elden Ring lately, and that game, bro, is like it's a bizarre like sort of work of art. And I feel this way about some Nintendo games as well, like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom especially. It's like some games, man, like, and there's a whole list of fucking excellent games. Some of them they just touch you, man. Like you play through it and you're just like, holy shit, like somebody has really fucking cared about this. Nier Automata is another one. You play through that and there's a fucking personality behind that game, man. And it's like somebody has like, well, a lot of people have really poured their heart and souls into these games. It's never just one person, it's a company. And I think as technology gets better, I think there's going to be more of a temptation to, rely on the technology to produce a substitute for human creativity. Or maybe all this is bullshit, as well. Maybe we're not going to have that problem at all. I don't actually know, because, technology's been improving forever. And so maybe everything that I've said is really just sort of irrelevant. Because, we didn't have the computers that we have computers today that we didn't have even just a couple of years ago. And graphical capabilities are always improving. And I guess maybe it's an illusion that, technology is going to fundamentally change anything. I think games will look different. I think, we're going to be able to make more powerful and realistic things. And I think there will be a temptation for people to rely on the technology as a substitute for the human touch, but it's never going to replace the human touch. And I think that's the point. And I think the most successful people who use AI in the future are going to be the people who manage to use it as an extension of their own humanity. Is, I guess, the point of this video, is that it's not about the technical capabilities. It's never been about the technical capabilities. I think the pursuit of more and more technical capability, I think, is a good thing, and I think it happens over time naturally, and I think it's always exciting when there's something new that looks fucking fantastic. I think that's very exciting, and I think that's a good pursuit. It's like the pursuit of beauty and realism, in video games and whatever. I think that's a good thing, but I think the pursuit of that at the expense of humanity just makes the whole argument just null and void. It's like you can have the most beautiful fucking game without a soul, and if it doesn't have a soul, then it's basically worthless. And I think what we're headed for in the next couple of years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, I don't know, is an unseen technological power in the form of AI that is going to grant people the capacity to produce shit unlike anything anyone has ever fucking seen. Like, by far, it is like a technological revolution, I think. I could be wrong, but that's my prediction. I think it's going to be like a paradigm-shifting fucking technology that's going to destroy industries and sort of flip the whole fucking thing on its head. And with that is going to come the temptation for people to rely on the technology and try to use the technology as a substitute for creativity. So that's my concern, and That's, I guess, my advice to you is to, you know, I think the first thing is to use these tools, man. I think use them because they're incredibly powerful, and if you can't use them, I think you'll be left behind. As sad as that is, or at least be aware of them. You know, at least be aware of them, sort of know how to use them, and just sort of pay attention to what's happening. And the second point is to not undervalue your own creativity and your own human touch when it comes to game design or any other form of art. Even though, like, you might not feel appreciated for it, even though you might feel like the fucking world is, like, you know, leaving you behind and, you know, fucking unjustly ripping off your work to feed to AI algorithms, and you know, it's unjust and unfair and all of this. Like, even if all of that is true, my advice to you is to try and keep your head up and to not let any of that shit going on devalue what you're doing, because I think expression of yourself through your creative work it's a noble pursuit. I think it's the best thing that any of us can do, and I think as long as you do that truly and sincerely and honestly, I think you'll always be all right. I think you'll always have work to do, and I think, funnily enough, I think maybe in the future there's going to be like this fucking boomerang or like pendulum effect where people are so sick of fucking AI garbage and expedient, easily generated nonsense that people might just shun the use of it altogether, and there'll be like a whole group of people who just only buy stuff that is made the old way, you know, like by hand, where you know, people have handcrafted their models. Like Studio Ghibli films are like this. Like there's this video where fucking Miyazaki gets pitched, I think it was like some AI generated software to accelerate the animating of some of his films, and he just fucking like lost his shit. He was like so dirty and like just sort of went off at this guy that pitched the idea, and you know, I don't think he's entirely right. I think maybe that was an unwarranted response in some respect, but I do understand where he's coming from. Is the thing that makes Studio Ghibli films so great is the fact that so much love and attention is being poured into them, and if you take away the sort of density of like having to animate everything by hand, and you instead start to automate it, you run the risk of short-circuiting the care that is fed into those projects, and then you run the risk of losing the essence of what makes the studio what it is. And I think that's what's going to happen with gaming at scale. I think, and with society at scale, I think we're gonna be flooded with AI-generated stuff, and I think it's going to change the dynamic. I think it's going to change the way that people look at art. People are going to be skeptical of things, and people are going to really start to value individual, handcrafted shit, I think, because it's going to be a rare commodity. I hope that's what happens anyway, because I'd personally like to see that. I really hope that people wisen up to the tendency to become expedient when it comes to generating art, and to just drive fucking profits at the most minimum cost, you know, and to sacrifice the soul of the work for making money. I really, really hate that. I really hate that to the bottom of my fucking soul, you know. So anyway, I think that's enough for me. Let me know your thoughts on this, and check out my links on my channel. I've got some courses and some products available on Gumroad if you're an Unreal Engine developer, and I've also got my Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out. I'm also available for mentorship. I've got some videos about that. I can't promise a huge amount of time or even that I'll get on calls with you or whatever, but you know, if you've got questions for me and you want to start a conversation, and if you feel like you might have something that you can offer me as well, you know, in exchange for my time, like giving you advice or whatever, reach out and let's have a chat. I feel like we're all better off the more that we talk to each other and share skills and trade labor and things like that. So something that I want to do more of on this channel is sort of build a sense of community. So if that sounds interesting to you, come to the Discord, send me a DM, say hi, reach out, tell me about yourself and whatever, and yeah, we'll go from there. So peace out, guys. See ya. Have a good day.